Welcome back to the Spooky Channel, where we explore the darkest and most mysterious corners of the world. Today we're delving into the top 10 scariest cursed objects, those chilling relics that have been imbued with malevolent energy and are said to bring nothing but misfortune to those who dare to possess them. From haunted dolls to cursed mirrors, these objects have been the stuff of nightmares for centuries, inspiring tales of horror and cautionary tales of the danger of playing with forces beyond our understanding. So buckle up and get ready for a spine-tingling journey through the world's most haunted objects. Uluru Rock. Located in the southern part of the Northern Territory in Australia, Uluru Rock is a large sandstone formation that holds sacred value for the indigenous people of the area. It's sometimes known as Ayers Rock, but regardless of what it's called, visitors are asked not to take anything from the site. Despite this, some people still choose to smuggle pieces of rock out of the area. Aside from the bad karma and guilt associated with taking something that you've been asked not to, there may have been a more sinister reason not to take anything from Uluru. Those who have stolen rocks from the site have reported experiencing extremely bad luck, severe illness, and even the death of their loved ones. The curse associated with the stolen rocks is seemingly so strong that it's very common for the company that runs tours of the formation to receive letters of apology that contain the stolen rocks. In fact, they receive at least one letter a day, while some may argue that this is just a coincidence. It's hard to ignore the frequency of these occurrences. Perhaps it's best to leave Uluru Rock in peace and appreciate its beauty from a respectful distance. Hope Diamond. With a worth of a whopping $250 million, this unusually large blue diamond is an exquisite masterpiece to behold. However, I wouldn't recommend purchasing it, even if you've had that kind of money lying around, for it is believed to be cursed. The curse dates back to the 17th century when the diamond was stolen from the eye of a sculpted statue of the Hindu goddess Sita. According to legend, whoever wears the diamond will be plagued with great misfortune and misery. The 115-carat diamond has been said to curse whoever owns or possesses it, with stories of terrible fates befalling its owners. Some have taken their own lives, while others have been intentionally killed by others. In some accounts, the owner was even torn to pieces, which sounds like one of the most gruesome fates imaginable. In an attempt to avoid the diamond's curse, replicas have been made, but to be on the safe side, maybe it is better to steer clear of those as well. This gorgeous gem may be a marvel to behold, but its curse is not something to be taken lightly. Debunked Box. In 2001, an innocuous wine box, originally just a plain old container, was being auctioned off on eBay. Little did the seller know that the box was said to be possessed by a Debunked, a malicious demon from Jewish mythology known to take over the bodies of the living and use them for evil. The seller had purchased the box at an estate sale of a Holocaust survivor, where he found a strange assortment of objects inside. Upon opening the box, the seller discovered two 1920s pennies, a lock of blonde hair bound with a cord, a lock of black hair bound with a cord, a small statue engraved with the Hebrew word shalom, a small golden wine goblet, one dried rosebud, and a single candle holder with 4 octopus-shaped legs. Since obtaining the box, the seller and those who have come into contact with it have reported experiencing strange occurrences, such as horrific nightmares and unexplainable accidents. In a bizarre turn of events, the box was given as a birthday gift to the seller's mother, who suffered a stroke on the same day. Eventually, the box ended up in the hands of paranormal investigator Zach Bagan and currently resides in his haunted museum. The box gained even more attention in 2018 when musician Post Malone touched it, reportedly experiencing a string of misfortunes since then. With its mysterious origins and the malevolent energy surrounding it, the debunked box has become one of the most notorious cursed objects in the world, haunting those who dare to come into contact with it. The Atlantis Ring. The discovery of the Atlantis Ring in the Valley of the Kings in 1860 caused a stir among historians and archaeologists alike. The unique geometric symbols carved into the clay ring had never been seen in Egyptian culture, and the age of the ring, estimated to be at least 5,000 years old, was equally intriguing. When Howard Carter, who later gained fame for discovering King Tut's tomb, received the ring, he began to believe that it held some sort of power. He claimed that the ring protected him and prevented his death, while his team members who participated in opening of the tomb died mysteriously afterward. Even those who visited the tomb shortly after the discovery were said to be cursed, with a total of 18 victims falling prey to unknown forces. Carter believed that the Atlantis Ring provided him with a protective shield against the evil forces at play. Today, replicas of the Atlantis Ring are sold, but whether they hold the same power as the original remains a mystery. The story of the Atlantis Ring remains a curious tale that continues to intrigue and baffle historians and the general public alike. The Cursed Chair. In Thirsk, North Yorkshire, there was a man named Thomas who, despite not being known as a nice person, had a strong attachment to his favorite chair. One day in 1702, he found his father-in-law sitting in it, which led to an argument between them. The father-in-law even threatened to take his daughter away, though she was already a grown woman. The argument escalated to the point where Busby kicked him out of the house. Later, Busby went to the father-in-law's home and killed him with a hammer, hiding the body in the woods. Eventually, the body was discovered, leading to Busby's conviction and execution. On his way to his execution, Busby stopped at his favorite pub for a drink. As he finished his beer, he cursed anyone who dared to sit in his chair, saying, "May sudden death come to anyone who dares sit in my chair." Now the chair resides in the Thirsk Museum, where it is believed that terrible things happen to those who sit in it. There have been recorded cases of misfortune and tragedy that befell the chair sitters. To prevent further calamity, the chair was hung from the ceiling in 1972, making it impossible for anyone to sit on it ever again. So given this story, would you dare to sit in Busby's chair? Tell us in the comments down below. Bassano Vase. Cast from silver in the 15th century, the Bassano Vase was supposedly a wedding gift for a bride in a small village in Napoli. But on her wedding night, the bride was found dying on the floor with her hands wrapped around the base. With her last breath, she vowed to seek revenge. It's unclear if the vase was already cursed or if her vow caused the curse. As the vase passed from person to person within her family, each new owner suffered a mysterious death. In an attempt to break the curse, the family hid the vase in a secret location, but it was unearthed again in 1988 with a warning note from the family that read, "Beware, this vase brings death." The warning was ignored and the vase was sold once more. The first buyer, a pharmacist, owned it for 3 months before dying mysteriously. A surgeon who had it for 2 months met a similar fate, followed by an archaeologist who only made it 3 months with a cursed vase in his possession. At this point, the vase's whereabouts are unknown, but it's best if it remains far away from us, deep underground, in space, or even in the Mariana Trench. Let's hope the curse doesn't follow it. The cursed phone number. The Bulgarian phone number that is rumored to be cursed has become a topic of much discussion and intrigue. Despite being a non-physical object, this phone number managed to cause the deaths of 3 individuals who had been assigned to it. The phone number had been in use for a decade before it was eventually closed down. The deaths that occurred after people were assigned the phone number were all surrounded by mysterious circumstances which led people to believe that there was something sinister at work. The deaths occurred soon after the person was assigned the number, which led to even more speculation about the potential curse. As the rumors of the cursed phone number began to spread, the company that was responsible for it eventually made the decision to suspend the number. However, they did not give out any further details as to why they had made this decision. It is unclear whether the deaths and the cursed phone number are related, but the story is so crazy that it is hard to ignore. The phone number may not have been a physical object, but it seems to have had a life of its own. The mysterious deaths that surrounded it have left many people wondering if curses are real and if there is something more to this story. Perhaps there is a lesson to be learned about the power of belief and how it can impact our lives in ways we cannot imagine. Robert the Doll. While Annabelle may steal the spotlight as a haunted doll, Robert is equally as terrifying. Robert the Doll was a birthday present from a grandfather to his grandson, who was also named Robert but went by Gene. According to the story, while growing up, Gene would be heard by his parents having conversations with himself in two distinct voices in his bedroom. At times, his parents would be awakened in the middle of the night to Gene's screams, only to find him frightened in bed with overturned furniture around him. Gene blamed Robert for all the strange happenings, but no one believed him at the time. As Gene grew up, he kept Robert with him and treated him as a living entity rather than a doll. Robert would accompany him everywhere he went, and their relationship was considered unhealthy. As an adult, Gene lived in the artist's house where he left Robert in the upstairs window. Children in the area reported seeing the doll disappear and reappear, and they avoided the house altogether. After Gene passed away in 1974, a woman named Myrtle bought the house and Robert as well. Visitors to the house claimed to hear footsteps and giggling from the attic where Robert was, and some even reported seeing the doll's expression change if someone spoke poorly of Gene. Myrtle reported Robert moving around the house on his own, and after 20 years, she donated him to a museum. Robert still resides in the museum, safely locked up, but it's believed he still likes to curse those who take his photo without permission. The museum's walls near Robert's glass case are covered in notes from previous visitors and skeptics, begging for his forgiveness and asking him to remove any curse he may have placed on them. Robert may not get as much attention as Annabelle, but his terrifying story has gained a large following on its own. The Goddess of Death. Created sometime around 3500 BC, this artifact made of limestone is sometimes known as the Woman from Lem. Discovered in Cyprus in 1878, the statue has a history of bringing misfortune for those who own it. Over the years, it has belonged to many different families, all of whom have been ruined and dismantled by death. After just 6 years of ownership, all 7 members of the first family who owned the statue died. The curse then moved on to a second owner, and after just 4 years, death began to come to him and his family as well. There has been a long period where the statue remained unclaimed, but once a third family got a hold of it, several members of that family began to die as well. Realizing the danger it posed, the third family turned it over to the Royal Scottish Museum, where it thankfully still resides. However, the curse associated with this statue is so strong that even the museum curator who handled it was mysteriously killed just a few days after. It's clear that whatever power this statue holds is strong and frightening. Perhaps it's best to keep it locked away where it can no longer harm anyone. Annabelle the Doll. Today, the Annabelle Doll is kept in a glass box in the Warrens' Occult Museum, where it is said to be one of the most haunted objects in the world. The museum contains a vast collection of paranormal objects that the Warrens accumulated throughout their career, and it is open to the public for tours. The real-life story behind the Annabelle Doll has become a popular subject of books, documentaries, and movies, including the 2014 horror film Annabelle. But the story behind the 2014 Annabelle movie is indeed a bone-chilling tale. It all began in the 1970s when Donna, a college student, received the doll as a gift from her mother, who purchased it from an antique store. Donna and her roommates Angie and Lou were all living in a small apartment in this city. Shortly after receiving the doll, strange things started happening. The girls noticed that the doll would move to different places and positions on its own. They found handwritten notes that said "help" and "help us" scattered around the apartment. They even discovered the doll covered in a strange red substance which they believed to be blood. The girls eventually contacted a medium who told them that the doll was possessed by the spirit of a young girl who was killed in a car accident near their apartment building. The medium advised them to get rid of the doll immediately as it was a conduit for evil energy. However, Donna and her roommates were reluctant to part with the doll as they had grown attached to it. Their attachment to the doll proved to be a fatal mistake. One night, Lou woke up to find the doll sitting at the end of her bed. Suddenly, she felt a sharp pain in her chest and realized that the doll was attacking her. The attack was so severe that Lou ended up in the hospital with multiple injuries. After the attack, the girls decided to seek help from a Catholic priest. The priest put them in touch with demonologists Ed and Lorraine Warren, who were famous for their investigations into paranormal phenomena. The Warrens believed that the doll was possessed by a demonic entity and attempted to exorcise it, but their efforts were unsuccessful. Thank you for tuning in to the Spooky Channel. We hope that you found our content both entertaining and informative. If you enjoyed it, please show your support by giving us a thumbs up and subscribing to our channel. We appreciate all of our viewers and would love to hear your thoughts and questions, so please leave them down below. Remember to stay curious and take care until we see you next time.